What is going on, people, and welcome back to another episode of Real Time with Dan. It is episode number 6, and of course we have plenty to go through today. We have got some more ridiculous stories to go over. We've also got more on a positive note, and we've also got some very interesting tech to talk about a bit later on. Something Canon related, of course, because of course, as you know, I'm a Canon fanatic and I love it. But hell, without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive straight into the first one now. So, as we all know, we're still in this whole lockdown scenario, as always, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing this for the foreseeable future, but hell, what can we do about it? Absolutely nothing. We just have to hope and pray that everything is going to plan and the government can do everything in their power. And on that, Boris Johnson is, of course, out and he's back at work. Congratulations, Boris. Well done. You've beaten coronavirus and hopefully many more will follow. And saying that, the amount of cases and the amount of new cases and the amount of deaths is beginning to go down. But we can't become complacent because already I'm still seeing lots of ridiculous stories, such as this one. The headline of this reads, and I quote now, "Brits flout social distancing rules and queue for ice cream as lockdown fatigue sets in." So that's the headline. And if we scroll down a little bit, and here we go. So, and this is what the main story is implying. Hundreds of locals were seen strolling along the seafront of Hove in East Sussex and queuing up for ice cream. Although new hospitalisations are beginning to plateau in the UK, Health Secretary Matt Hancock warned yesterday that it is still too soon for emergency restrictions to be relaxed. So people are still going about and ignoring these guidelines again. And see, I don't know. I don't even think I have any words. Like I could see this coming, because there are people doing this. And to those people, I shame you. I publicly shame you. I'm sorry. I have no words for you. If anyone out there is just going to flout these and just ignore them, what's the point? You don't seem to understand how serious the situation is. You need to give the NHS some blooming time. If you're just going to go out and risk yourself and go, "Oh yeah, I'm part of the invulnerable, I'm not going to be affected." Well, okay. You won't be saying that when you're on a bloody ventilator, will you? Stupid idiots. So anyway, yes, and below it even says, the government says people should only go outside to buy essential items for medical assistance, to help a vulnerable person, for one form of daily exercise, and to go to work if necessary. That's it. It's not to do anything else apart from that. That's what was told to us, like way back in March, I think it was. Like, I'm pretty sure that's when it was announced. In fact, we've now literally reached nearly 6 weeks of lockdown, and we're still seeing signs of people just going, "Nah, we'll be all right. We'll just risk it." Yeah, risk your life and risk the lives of everyone you love. That's how you do it. That's what us Brits do, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but I think it is ridiculous. But I can't. But then again, if you thought that one was bad, okay, now this one. If you thought this story and any of the stories in any of my episodes were the stupidest, most unbelievable things on the face of this planet, this one will take the cake. Not the one I've just said, but this next one. Now, take this one with a pinch of salt. This one literally trumps the lot. I say trumps a lot, and we all know who that is, of course. It's Donald Trump and his ridiculous solution. So the headline of this one reads, "Debacle of Trump's coronavirus disinfectant comments could be tipping point." Now, if anyone who's a bit unaware, but I'm sure no one should be, basically Donald Trump opened up one of his sort of, I suppose, like press releases or press conferences or something, the daily presidential conference or whatever. I don't know. It says the US president plans to pare back his daily coronavirus briefings after falsely claiming his suggestion to inject cleaning products had been sarcastic. So essentially he said that instead of using medicine or a vaccine, we ought to just use cleaning products like disinfectant. And it goes on. It goes on to say, for Donald Trump, it was the strangest and most news-making thing he could have done. Instead of taking questions from the journalists like he would do, dominating the nation's airwaves yet again, the US president gave a short pre-written statement and then stalked off the stage. Now, take a minute to soak this in, because I would like to ask him face to face, what toner ink were you sniffing when you thought of that dumb idea? Like, seriously, what the hell is wrong with you? You're a president of the United States, and if that's your method of humour, I'm sorry, but I may be British, but I know what humour is, and that is not humorous even remotely. I never would say to someone, oh yeah, this, we're in a very serious crisis at the moment, and we do not need to be hearing people saying, oh, this is the solution, inject yourself with disinfectant. And another true fact, there were cases of people actually doing this, but then Donald Trump said he's not taking the blame for it, he only said it as a joke. So this is what I mean. It's because he has an influence on people, and it's disgusting. Just, seriously, it gets on my nerves. So yeah, and this is the other thing. The abrupt end of Friday night's daily press conference, which has become a ribald, unruly, and often shocking ritual in America during the coronavirus pandemic, was probably the clearest sign yet of how badly, Trump's bizarre statements over disinfectant have shaken his administration. Now, I could not have summed that up any better. I truly 100% agree to that. I'm sorry, but when I saw that, I actually wanted to throw a brick through the television and hoped it hit him in the face. I don't know what he was thinking, but, I mean, that's, if people support him, whatever. I'm not going to say, I can't change their minds, can I? They can change their own minds if they like. But holy mother of God, that is ridiculous. If I had £1 for every time he says something stupid, I reckon I would be a millionaire. And that one, I reckon the amount of negative comments he got towards that as well, I would still be a millionaire for the amount of pounds for every comment made towards him on that. It'd be ridiculous. Because it's a ridiculous claim. Because disinfectant is not for use in the body whatsoever. It's not. It's absolutely not. So I don't know what gave him that idea ever. So yeah, I mean, again, I just don't see the humour in that whatsoever. And the thing is, he said it was a joke, but in reality, it probably wasn't. He probably did it because he probably heard something, assumed, oh, it must be true. I'll say that, that'll make me famous. And clearly, he gets a lot of hate for it. Well, I think really he should probably think about his words next time. But anyway, let's get away from that one, because of course that's my rant over. I don't want to rant on this video forever. I'll have to blimmin' lifetime it. But let's move on to a more positive note. Now, there's a certain individual who lives in the UK, and he is probably by far the most inspirational man the world will ever know. Basically, the man set out to walk 100 laps of his garden before his 100th birthday, which, as of the time of shooting this video, is the 30th of April, today. So, to Captain Tom Moore, I would just like to give him a massive happy birthday. Of course, the man himself has turned 100, and he's also raised, his original target was £1,000 for NHS charities. The total stands at over £31 million. £31 million. That's 31,000 times more than the initial target. Now, I mean, that is amazing. And if we go on to the story right here, so the headline of the story reads, so Captain Tom Moore given Colonel title on 100th birthday. What a way of putting it. I've got to say, the man himself is a true inspiration. Because Captain Tom Moore is, as I say Captain, I should really say Colonel now, but Captain Tom Moore, as we should know him, is a war veteran. So, and he raised millions, as I've already said. So, and of course, he was given an honorary colonel promotion on his 100th birthday. Now, and the more impressive thing is now people are saying that he deserves a knighthood. And that I will agree with 1,000,000%. He does deserve a knighthood. A knighthood, like, I think that would genuinely make him so happy. Like, he's the most gifted person around. Like, he's a true soldier. At 100 years old and walking 100 laps of his garden, heck, at that age, that's fantastic. I think the man is an absolute walking inspiration. And so, I mean, heck, some of the actual words here, like head of the Army General Sir Mark Colton Smith called Captain Tom Moore an inspirational role model. 100% absolute fact. And he's due to spend the majority of the day self-isolating with his daughter. And of course, he also had an RAF fly past, which marked his 100th birthday. And I've got to say, you know, everything about this is amazing. He even got praise from Boris Johnson. He even got a personalised letter from the Queen. Like, that is, how rare is that? Like, and the fascinating thing was, like, some facts about Tom Moore. He actually served in India and the Burma campaign during the Second World War. And of course, you know, he had it sounds all right when you think of it like that, but to still be around today and raising all that money for the NHS during this horrible crisis, it's fantastic. In fact, he's received over 150,000 cards, and as always, an honorary colonel. That's not something you hear every day. How on earth can you bash that? And there's, of course, as I said, like, I would suggest you go on to change.org and sign the petition to give this man a knighthood. I've already done my part, so you should do your part. Get this man, give him the Victoria Cross. I mean, if he's not already got it, give it to him, because he's one of the most inspirational people. And it says right here, he had the goal of raising only £1,000 by his 100th birthday. 31 million. I mean, hell, I couldn't raise £31 million. I'd probably raise a tenner in a day. I would never raise that. I don't think I could raise that much, only unless I actually did something properly. But the man is a walking and breathing legend. So, and I can't commend the man enough. You know, the work he's done and everything he's worked for is fantastic. He even featured in a cover of the version of the song. He was featured in a song called "You'll Never Walk Alone," with the proceeds going to the same charity, and it even topped the UK music charts and made him the oldest person to achieve a UK #1. I mean, this man, I feel like he ought to, like, there ought to be, you know, there should be everything. Like, once this is all over, I think he should be literally, you know, every single honour in the British Army ought to be given to him. Everything from the Victoria Cross onwards, you know, absolutely. I think he should be made a general. He should be made General Thomas Moore. Like, I mean, I know he's an honorary colonel, and that's a very big, you know, it's a very high position, but imagine if he got to be a general. That'd be fantastic, I think. But, you know, big up to the man himself. He's fantastic, and, you know, I wish him all the best. You know, I hope he carries on, you know, living his life happily as he has always done. So anyway, moving on a little bit. Now, I know it's a very sudden shift in things, and, you know, I am a bit of a tech nerd, and I said at the beginning, like, I'm a bit of a Canon fanatic. Well, Canon, now, I know a lot of people may know this, I don't think some will, but there is a new Canon underway. It's the Canon R series. Now, the Canon EOS R came out about a year and a bit ago now, and people were a bit, like, you know, a bit sort of all over the place. They were 50-50 with it. But now, there's another new one coming out called the Canon EOS R5, which is underlined here, or is headlined here as Canon EOS R5, the king, in quotation marks, specs list in the battle for 8K resolution. That's because this mirrorless like Canon body, or this mirrorless Canon camera, is saying that it will shoot full frame 8K with dual pixel CMOS autofocus at 30 frames a second, which is, for a camera of that size and for a camera of like that capacity, that is truly revolutionary. Some of the best, cinema cameras, like the Red cameras or even Arri Alexas, like they're like multi-$1,000 cameras, and this is only going to be I think they're saying it could be about $3,500, which is a lot. But hell, this is going to be fantastic. It's saying the EOS R5 is the new king in town as defined by Canon. Okay. Currently, this camera is being developed. According to Canon, this full-frame mirrorless will offer professional videographers a host of game-changing new features like full-frame 8K internally and improved IBIS. That means in-body image stabilization. So not just the digital stabilization, but essentially, if you don't have like a gimbal or a stabilizer, then it will do the work for you in camera, which is pretty significant. It's way better than digital stabilization, and with the stabilization in a lens, it makes it even better. So, and back to it, more specs have revealed, so let's have a look. So it says here, Canon has developed an entirely new CMOS image sensor for the EOS R5. According to Canon, that sensor will allow 8K video capture capability that enables users to extract high-resolution still images from video footage, as well as process 8K video into high-quality 4K video. And another thing, 4K video can be shot at up to 120 frames a second with the dual pixel autofocus. That just trumps every other sub-cine camera on the market at the moment. I can't think of anything else on the market that even trumps that. Like you could think maybe, I don't know, like a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, like 6K would probably be the ultimate one, or maybe something like a Sony A7 III or A7 IV. It's recently been announced, hasn't it? I don't know. And the thing is, I just find it so impressive that everything in this is, I wonder what it would be. I wonder what the full HD will shoot at, because even though it does 4K at 120 frames a second, I wonder how much it would do in 1080p, because I reckon it might be lower. It might even have many more frames a second, but we do not know that. So hopefully we'll find out. And also, it is the first Canon camera to have in-body image stabilization, or IBIS, which frankly is phenomenal. Most Canon cameras tend to have the digital stabilization, but that's in their mirrorless lineup. Whereas their DSLRs, they don't have any stabilization whatsoever. Like this ADD right here, I actually have to have this on a gimbal, and I did have one, but after a while I decided it wasn't quite what I wanted. It worked. It recorded a few of my videos at Flip Out and the videos in Italy, but it didn't really do everything I wanted it. It still made it very heavy and unwieldy, so I decided to get rid of it. And, well, that's just how life is. You win some, you lose some. So, here we go. So, now, of course, at the moment, there is no sort of knowing how much this is going to be. I did say it could be $3,500. That's sort of like a starting price, if you like. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the official price, but we shall have to wait and see. And apart from all that, we're not sure when it will be available. And it's been rumoured that it's actually had to be pushed back, predictably. But, of course, we can't bash Canon too much. We can't bash anywhere. But this is going to be the most epic Canon camera the world has ever seen, hands down. Everyone's going to go mad for these. I would say everyone, but mostly the prosumers or the professionals out there are going to be like, oh my God, this camera is going to trump everything else. And I do believe it's also got a very high megapixel count. And there's also another Canon EOS R style camera, the EOS R6, which I'm going to assume that's sort of more geared towards like the 6D line, which is like, that's part of the full frame DSLR selection. There's the 1D, the 5D, and the 6D, and those are all full frame. Then there's the 7D, which is a crop sensor camera, very similar to this camera, in fact. The 6D had the 6D Mark 1 and Mark 2, and so I'm assuming that line is going to go towards the mirrorless lineup, which is what the R5 is doing. It's effectively like the Canon 5D Mark 5, but instead of it 5D, it's just R5, and it's a mirrorless lineup. So, because when the EOS R came out, I know for a fact that people assumed like it's basically like a 5D Mark 4. Like it's very similar in specs. It's very similar in capabilities. It's more or less got kind of the same sort of like, it's got the same similar amount of megapixels, I think. Yeah, it must have. Yeah, I think it's 30 megapixels or something along those lines. I don't quote me on that because I haven't got an EOS R. I've only got an ADD and an M3, but still, each one true to their own. They both offer 4K, but only in crop form. They don't offer full frame 4K, which is a bit of a pain. And I do believe they do still retain autofocus with 4K. At least that's to my knowledge, but I don't know. So, of course, like, everything about the two, one can be better than the other. Like, one's a DSLR, one's a mirrorless camera. That's just, it's really down to what you want. I'd say the EOS R would probably be, it's a bit cheaper. But on that, it requires different lenses because, of course, it's not an EF lens. It's actually an RF lens, which is, of course, like, I'm supposing that's like the full frame mirrorless lineup of lenses, which I suppose makes sense, and those lenses are going to cost you a lot of money. So yeah, don't expect this to be coming out in a very budget-friendly manner. I wouldn't really be surprised if they brought out a Canon EOS R7 maybe, because as I said, there's a 7D as well, which is the crop sensor version, so maybe they'll have but the thing is, there is a lot of crop sensor mirrorless cameras, like there's the M3, the M5, the M6 Mark II, and I don't see anything wrong with those. Like, I've got an M3, and that's actually the camera I was using to start this channel, but eventually I just thought I needed a bit of an upgrade, and I thought maybe an ADD would do me fine, and I've fallen in love with it. That's the thing. You just got to go with what you think is going to work for you. I like the ADD, and this camera is going to be truly epic, and I hope that it comes out, and I hope it does well, and I hope that it will come out soon, because the reviews are going to be spectacular, I think. And on a non-related topic, like this is, I always talk about microphones, but the makers of this one, so this is the Aston Stealth, is made by a company, as I said, called Aston. Not Aston Martin, it's not by the same company, it's completely different. It's a British company, and they are announcing something in about a day's time from today. So by the time the video comes out, I think this video normally will be out about 2 days later. So it'll be out on Saturday or something, I don't know. But by the time this video is out, that announcement would have already been made. So I might cover that in a future video, like maybe in the next episode, or maybe when I can. We shall have to wait and see, but I have no idea what it's about. It could be a new microphone. It could be a new direction they're going in. It could be something like, I don't know, it could be an interface. Who knows? I mean, if that was the case, I don't know, because I already have a decent interface as I have. Like, I'm happy with what I've got, and I don't need to upgrade for those at all. Like, this setup here is more than enough. But on that, I will like to just admit that this setup here, I do love it. Laptop right here, camera there, But the thing is, every time I come out and do this video, now this is, I don't think I've really said this before, but I've never really been truly happy with what I've been doing, because every time I come out to do this podcast or the reaction video I did last week, I have got to get everything out my room, plump it down, put it in the right place, set everything up, and that takes about half hour, 35 minutes, yeah? And then, of course, I have to go onto here and then look at my sources. That takes another 10 minutes. I'd like everything, as everyone would probably say, I like everything to be ready to go in the click of a finger, which is fair enough because, of course, if you're doing this constantly, you want to know that you're getting, optimal performance, and the fact that you're also getting, you're also able to do it very efficiently. You can get footage off here and put it straight onto here, literally in the snap of a finger, or you want to do all that. So as time goes by, hopefully in the near future, or probably in this case, the far future, as judged by the fact that we're in this pandemic still, I really would like to have, this is sort of like a future plan, I would really like to have sort of my own recording area, or sort of like my own office or working space, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so I think that's where I'm going to end the video today, and I know I may have rambled on a few things and may have got a few rants in there, but sometimes, in life, sometimes ranting does clear the brain, and it also, it helps to settle the mind a little bit. But anyway, if you guys have enjoyed this video, then make sure you go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you want to submit something down below, like a story you've heard or an experience you've had in this whole pandemic that you'd love to share with me, stick it in the comments below and mark it saying if you want me to mention your channel or mention you in general. If you want me to keep you anonymous, then say that as well. But of course, and again, if you don't want to send it or if you don't want to put it in the comments, you can send it via my email, dan.b.bryant@hotmail.com, and do the same again. Just mark it as Real Time with Dan submission and all that. And hopefully I will be able to read those in the next video, because I do like hearing what you guys have to say. It's always very inspiring, and it's also, it lets me know that it also restores my faith in humanity. And also make sure you subscribe to this channel, make sure you turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos, and above all, just check out all the channels in the description, and be sure you stay safe, and make sure you keep on washing your hands and do all that. Anyway, take great care, and I'll see you next time.